Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar. We wanted to give an update essentially on Saas's Nebula platform and specifically highlighting feature sets within it that can assist managed service providers to provide services to their customers. Obviously, just like people are used to Office 365 as a platform and so on and so forth, Nebula is now well and truly evolved into a really sound platform to deliver IT, networking, and Wi-Fi type services to your customers. So there's been various additions to the platform recently in terms of the GUI, feature sets, so on and so forth. So we wanted to sort of bring together a refreshed presentation on the Nebula cloud management platform, so that, and very specifically point out features that are useful to MSPs and so on and so forth. We'll see those people that have registered for the webinar will get a copy of the slides. There's some handouts at the end to sort of introduce the Saas MSP program that's just been launched. And so yeah, that's where we're coming from. And thank you very much. Here, let's get going. So cheers. So obviously most people are aware that basically our Nebula is our cloud networking platform. It involves a web management platform hosted in Amazon Web Services. Obviously, networking products include switching, security gateways, and Wi-Fi. And there's an app and a web management portal wrapped around it all. So a lot of people ask, why do you want software as a service for cloud networking? Well, one of the big drivers is obviously to lower the combined running costs because you've got a single portal from a management point of view that enables you to work smarter, be more efficient as a company. Because it's centralized in terms of its cloud management, you can access it anywhere you might be. As long as you can get an internet connection and you have a laptop or a device, an iPad or a phone or whatever, you can manage your Nebula devices. Also, one other big thing, obviously, because it is cloud-based, you can scale it. You can have redundancy across those management regions as well. And one of the big fundamentals is that from day one, security was a fundamental design requirement for this platform. So obviously, people might have seen this slide before, but obviously normally you purchase the equipment, you install the equipment, you monitor it, which involves building your own platform, access the equipment. I'll go through this relatively quickly. Then you monitor the platform. That obviously requires your own data services, processing, so on and so forth. If you need to do changing, they're quite complex. Obviously, you have to create your own authentication mechanisms and radius and such, so on and such like. But obviously with Nebula, you still need to purchase the equipment and you still need to install it. But basically, from a monitoring point of view and a general management, that's all taken care of by Nebula. From a monitoring point of view, you use Nebula just as you would any other sort of web-based GUI. Obviously, data storage is taken care of by Amazon Web Services and the Nebula platform. Updates and so on and so forth taken care of by the platform. User and device management, you can either do that within Nebula or you can use your own radius connected authentication mechanisms. So the difference, we're taking away all of the grief from each sort of reseller having to create their own platform to us providing you with a centralized network management platform, all easily accessible via the internet. So Nebula's been out now for a good few years. It's regularly being refreshed. New products are being added to it from a security point of view, new access points, new switches, and you'll see some of those new additions later on. But so basically, you know, you're on a platform journey just like Microsoft under Office 365 has evolved. These are the key solution points. So you've obviously got switching, you've got security gateways, you've got Wi-Fi. It can all be managed via a browser interface. That's what we call the NCC, the Nebula Control Center, or it can be managed via a mobile phone app. So we have centralized control, as you say here, from the cloud. There's no hardware required on-premise from the controller point of view. It covers wired networks, wireless networks, and security, internet security. We have a zero-touch provisioning system, which you'll see later on. And obviously, the basic Nebula platform comes with a free license, which can be seamlessly upgraded to professional pack licensing features if you require. There will always be a free version. So this is just a summary of, you've got the security gateway, you've got the switching, you've got the Wi-Fi, you've got the mobile app, and obviously the Nebula Control Center is the web portal, basically. then this is just a very brief overview of licensing. You'll see it in greater detail later on. The basic license will always be there and it will always be free. The Nebula Professional Pack, if you want to ease the deployment and management and support, particularly if you are an MSP, we'll highlight some of those features later on, then you will want the Professional Pack licensing. Professional Pack comes with a points-based, a year-based, or it can also be lifetime-based as well, as you can see here. So, how do you get going with Nebula? The first thing you do is you sign up to the portal. You then configure an organization and configure sites. You can then use the app to register those devices via QRC codes that are on the outside of the boxes, or you can enter the serial numbers via the portal. You then connect the device to an internet connected subnet, power them up. That device then registers with the Nebula Cloud, and you then start managing it. And it's as simple as those 4 steps. Various people have done some tests to show how quickly it can be done, so you can do it in a few minutes. And this was just a quick slide to show that basically you're up and running in minutes. No sophisticated solutions to put in place on premise. Just get the devices connected to an internet subnet, power them up. As I said, having registered them, and you're up and running. One of the things you can do is you can pre-configure things without unboxing. So all of our packaging now of a Nebula or a NebulaFlex capable device has a QRC code on the outside. You can scan that in from the box within your organization and within your site, and then ship the box to site if you want to do it that way without unboxing. And then somebody else at site unboxes it, connects it up, and then powers it up, lets you know that it's there, and then you dive on the portal and start managing it. Obviously, some MSPs do it a different way around. They prefer to unbox equipment within their sort of build system, within their premise, check that it all works, put it back in the box and ship it out. So we're not saying either way is better. It's entirely up to you how you want to run your business. But if you want to be really efficient, you can do it this way, where you can pre-configure it without unboxing. Obviously, one of the things I've just mentioned earlier on is there is an app that basically makes life a lot easier. You need a Nebula account from the web portal, so sign up to the Nebula portal, get your account, and then you enter that portal account on the app once you've installed it. And then it supports things like wizard and organization and site creation, adding devices, obviously with the QR codes. You can do captive portal customizations. There's a whole list here, but you can manage a lot of the features of Nebula within the app quite easily. So if you've got, for instance, customers that you want to offer 24/7 support, your staff can be out and about with an app, and it can show alerts and so on and so forth. You can change and configure things from the app wherever you are, which is, you know, fantastically efficient and good service to offer your customers. Obviously, with the excuse me, the MSP portal facility allows you to have multiple organizations and multiple sites, which you can then manage within the app as well. So there's a full list of features later on. The Nebula Control Center is the web GUI to Nebula. It provides a centralized point of control and management. Once again, also it provides zero-touch provisioning, so you've registered the devices within the NCC, and it has built-in multi-site and multiple organization management. So here we are, we're just pointing out some of the features that are on there. The red features tend to be, in this presentation, tend to be indicating professional licensing type features, although this is just some red dots. You can perform, once you've got a site and it's configured, or multiple sites, you can then basically perform site-wide configuration of SSIDs, authentication, captive portal setup, so on and so forth. So rather than have to go to each access point and individually configure it, you have all your access points registered and for a particular site. And then, as you say, you have per site configuration, which then applies to all of those particular devices. You can have smart guest and VLAN setups where you can basically have an SSID matching to a VLAN, which then matches to a gateway. So you can have a complete security path all the way through from the wireless to the wired to the gateway side of things. And as it says here, all the access points in this site will follow the settings. You can have a tagging facility where you can find out what that particular access point is all about. You can give it a friendly name, so on and so forth. And if the new access points that are added to this site will automatically apply the same configuration. So it literally is register the device, put it under the site, configure it, install it at the customer site, power it up, off you go. Zero-touch provisioning again, so no configuration is needed for existing firewalls or the gateways. There's no need to put an agent on a device or a cloud key or sort out proxy access or VPNs or anything like that. You literally do just plug the devices onto an internet-connected subnet, they call home, and job done. Obviously, if you have got a third-party firewall, you need to make sure that the firewall rules are there to enable outbound access, but that's all you need to do. This is an example here of the single pane of glass management. So this is the new style Nebula Control Center GUI. If you've been using Nebula before, you'll realize over the last 6 weeks to 2 months, one of the sort of Nebula 2 type features has gone through, in that we've got the new style GUI. So you can have multi-site and multi-organizational administration by selecting the organization and then selecting the site. You can see an initial dashboard style status of the network, excuse me. You can see things like traffic graphing summaries. You can see the top clients, that what they're using, what their access is, so on and so forth, all via one simple to view GUI. If you've got the app, one of the good things you can have is you can have alerts by email or push notifications to your device. As it says here, so push notifications for the device online offsite state will be free from version 2.2 of the app. If you've got the professional license, which is essentially one of the things that's probably required for MSPs, you can have a smart alert type solution set up, which basically, if a further upstream device fails, say a switch fails, then that's going to impact multiple downstream devices, say access points. So rather than everything alert, you can create a hierarchy of event structures so that only the appropriate alert will come through. That's a recent update. Another professional feature is the configuration log. So basically everything will then be copied into the configuration log, so you can exactly see what's going on. So clearly that's very useful for MSP, so you can see who's done what, where, and how. You can have misconfiguration protection as well. So basically you can have an auto recovery point, so that if anything goes wrong, it rolls back if you don't commit it. And you can do things like have scheduled firmware upgrades. One of the professional features is that you can have, as it says here, you can have a per device granularity on scheduled firmware upgrades. Normally it would be a bulk upgrade for each access point, group of access points. But if you've got the professional feature, which you might require for MSPs, you can do it in a much finer granularity. Then some other things that you can do with, once again, the professional license, you can have map and floor plans that basically give you much more information as to where the devices are and so on and so forth. So to help your patch support people or IT support staff that might be on site, you can illustrate things and quickly check where things are on the device with the floor plan and mapping. Another great thing is the automatic topology. So this looks at all the devices that the Nebula knows about and looks at all the connectivity by using things like LLDP. And you can see that it simply draws a connection path, and you can see where all the devices are connected to, and then you can go and double click on devices and get information on them. It makes it much easier to, from a support point of view, work out what's going on. There's some other sort of live tools information here, which basically allows you to look at network traffic on WAN ports, look at DHCP leases, so on and so forth. Let me move on to things like, sometimes it's very useful to obviously get a scheduled summary report. So you can see what users have been doing what and where, and then you can basically organize a report being sent out to your customers, which is it's a professional feature. So that report is automatically sent out with logos and so on and so forth to your customers. So you can be seen to be proactive and communicating with your customers. As it says here, particularly for MSPs, you can have multi-tier management. So basically, when you create a new organization, it's effectively the second organization, you move into what's called the MSP mode, the multi-tenant, multi-site, multi-level mode. And you can see that when you choose your organization, you can see the sites under it. But this is what we mean by being able to create and offer services via the MSP mode. So you have a different organization, different sites under that organization, and you can break out your customer structure easily. You can have an instant view of each site once you select a particular organization, so you can instantly see what's what, if there are any issues that you need to deal with. Then what we have concentrated on in the last Nebula release is these various professional features. So as it says here, there's now a synchronization mechanism to help MSPs be efficient so that you can easily propagate site-wide settings and access point, particularly access point information from one site to another under an organization. You can also do switch cloning, so you can clone a switch device based on settings from one device to another one under the same organization. Obviously, you can do backup and restore, so that if you've got some work going on, perhaps on a particular site or an organization, you can back it up, and if anything went wrong, you can obviously restore. And you can also operate a sort of template type style, so it allows many sites to be deployed and kept up to date following a single base configuration template. These are obviously very valuable professional licensing features that particularly help MSPs or people that want to move into the MSP space. Excuse me. And then you can also, now is a dashboard logo creator. So basically you can customize the logo that's displayed on the Nebula Control Center to promote your branding to your customers. So one of the things that you can do is that you can give your customer access to a certain part of your MSP setup, organization on site. So obviously when they come in and log in, you can make it look and feel as if it's their company. So you can have dashboards that have different GUIs, different icons in the top left hand there, just sort of making things that much more friendly and professional. You can change the support contact, and you can integrate your contact details in there as well. And obviously, one of the things we should do is just go over what the product sets are. So this is showing you what's called effectively native Nebula products. You might like to think of them as a pure Nebula product. So these are products in the Wi-Fi and the wired and the gateway family sets that can only be managed via Nebula. They can't be managed standalone on premise. So you've got access points, you've got the 102, the 203, and the 303. Switching is the NS100 and the 200 with and without PoE. And obviously the NSG security gateway is 50, 100, 200, 300. Now the access points come with a 3-year professional license. The switch series comes with a 1-year professional license, and the NSG comes with a 1-year professional license and a 1-year security signature license. Now, expanding on the portfolio, basically we introduced NebulaFlex and NebulaFlex Professional. NebulaFlex products are products that can be managed standalone on premise with a simple web interface, or they can be managed via Nebula. This is what we're saying by NebulaFlex. NebulaFlex Professional are devices that can be managed standalone, they can be managed by Nebula, or they can be managed by an on-premise controller, which is more really to do with Wi-Fi devices. NebulaFlex Professional comes with a 1-year professional license as well. So you can see that all of the blue products, if you like, including the new AX access point there, will be managed in the free mode. If you add the professional license, obviously you get the professional features. The green product sets, as I said, they come with 1-year professional license, and they would be manageable with the professional license from day one. This is just showing you a lot of the products are very sophisticated, premium products. We have quality RF shielding to keep out 3G, 4G, and ultimately 5G interference. There is a lot of things like heat spreading, quality smart antenna design. So these are not sort of cheap basic products. They are value for money, but quality products, quality components, quality design. This is an example of a Wave 2 access point stripped apart. It's the smart antenna, and you can see all the different RF electronics from the super smart antenna system. From switching, we always go for quality electrostatic discharge protection and surge protection. We have hardware monitoring on the fans for automatic speed control. These quality products on the switch mode power supply designs. So these are quality solutions that are managed by the Nebula solution. So here we are. This is just a list of the access points again. I won't write too much about these, but these slides will be sent to you, but you can see what the features are, whether or not they're 2x2, 3x3, are they Wave 2, what antenna they have, are they an external access point, what's their IP rating, so on and so forth. So with all these things, they're very easy to set up the SSIDs. You can schedule them, so you can switch the Wi-Fi off at certain times. You can link an SSID and a VLAN together. You can rate limit it, so on and so forth via the gateway. There's various security mechanisms in place for MAC filtering per SSID, dynamic VLAN assignments, automatically setting up via the professional license. Soon there'll be WPA3 support for AX style, newer AX style access points. Obviously, there is a captive portal feature on there, which has an unlimited number of users on the professional license version of that. We have clever smart wireless roaming and load balancing. And if you have a Wave 2 style device, you can get real-time historical and wireless health reports on devices as well, which is very useful for tracking down issues. If a customer rings up and says they're reporting wireless health issues, you can go on there and have a look straight away. And this is just going over the wireless health. This is a professional feature. So basically what it does is it basically looks at the state of the retransmissions on the Wi-Fi connections. And if there's quite a bit of retransmissions over a period of time, then it starts to draw a graph of the number of those transmissions. Obviously, anything with green is absolutely fine. Anything that starts moving into the orange or the red, then you're starting to get issues. And then you can get a list of the access points that are creating those particular alerts. And obviously, you can then do something about that. You can either do automatic optimization by dynamic channel selection, or you can start maybe looking for interference in and around a particular access point. You can also do, this is once again a professional feature, which I mentioned earlier on, is obviously to do with managed service provision. You can have an instant view of the current client status. So is it good, bad, or ugly, for want of a better word? You can set the period of time over which you see the graph. So has interference occurred today? Has it occurred last week, last month? So is it a common thing? Does it happen on a Friday morning when somebody always microwaves something, whatever? But that sort of graphing information helps you track down what's going on. Obviously, an MSP offering support services, if somebody does ring you up and mentions you've got Wi-Fi issues, then obviously the more information you have to debug that particular issue, the better, because otherwise you've got to devote staff to actually work out what's going on, whereas you can do a lot of remote sort of, not debugging for want of a better word, but find out what's going on that site by looking at things like the wireless health feature. It's been a well received feature. This is just showing you the switching. So I won't bore you too much. The 200 series has got 10 gig downlinks. The 100 series has got 1 gig downlinks. PoE is 80 spec on both devices. You can basically, once again, do quite efficient provisioning with these, because you can inherit multiple configurations easily within the site configuration option. You can schedule your PoE, so you can switch the PoE off at the weekend or at the evenings if you want to save power. So switch power down your access points by disabling PoE on the switches. It's got multicast support for IPTV, and now there's a useful feature to actually look at the actual multicast channel usage and the group to TV channel reporting. You can also do per port bandwidth control and vendor ID based VLAN. So on sort of voice over IP phones, you can put the vendor MAC address in, and that automatically connects a particular voice over IP phone to a particular VLAN. And obviously you can do real-time monitoring of data and so on and so forth. One of the other professional features that's just come out is, as I said, it's a multicast IPTV report. So it gives you a clear view as to what channel is being used and viewed by who. So basically you can see the number of channels, the number of active channels that are in use, and the current viewers. And you can see what their sort of popularity rating is. It's helped you get to the bottom of what channels your customers are actually using on your multicast TV solution. And you can obviously do optimization as well by if more devices have tried to join than they can actually be allowed, then you might need to up the number of channels that you want to give customers. You can learn those features quite easily. There you go. Once again, that's a professional feature because it's quite high value. So you can click on a channel name as well to view the details of how many users per hour and who they are. Then we move on to the sort of third part of the solution, which is essentially the security gateway. So this is on the WAN side of it, it's connected to the internet. On the LAN side, obviously, it's connected to switching and Wi-Fi. got a broad range of products from the 50 to the 300. Essentially, they've all got VPN, firewall, application, IDP, so on and so forth. So they're like a UTM type device, but Nebula managed. Smart VPN provisioning is always highly thought after. Makes life much easier for people to do remote access. We've got powerful UTM features with the security license. The professional license also helps understand the VPN topology by drawing it in real time and showing what clients are connected. Obviously, there's antivirus, application patrol, and content filtering, which is part of the security license. The NSS analysis, which is the security signature analysis, basically allows you at a glance to see what's been going on, where the viruses have come from, where they're going to what client device. Obviously, if certain applications are consuming your bandwidth more than you expect, you can start blocking them. All easily accessible via the Nebula Control Center. Nice pie charts, very easy to understand. You can drill down on by clicking. All part of a very efficient MSP type management structure. So if you do want to offer services, you know that it's very straightforward for you to drill down, find out what's going on a particular site, and then change it, monitor it, or generate a report on it, or so on and so forth. It's got all kinds of charts, all kinds of graphs, no shortage of analysis either. So once you find an item of interest, you can basically click on it, and then you can see the timeline, see what devices have been doing what. These are just examples. And also you can click on an IP address as well to see which client it actually is as well. And you can do things on a per user basis now as well. So at a glance, you can drill down completely down to a per user. We do not touch the user's data. This is all the metadata of the client device. So there's no privacy issues at all. Yeah, oops, my laptop stopped from there. Excuse me. So basically, we just got more and more graphs of what's going on. One of the things that some people have not quite understood is what's NebulaFlex all about. Basically, the idea of NebulaFlex is just to give you that, in quotes, flexibility to carry on standalone managing equipment if that's what you want, before you plan or come up with a strategy within a sort of managed service to move to cloud management via Nebula. So we are just giving you complete flexibility. You can be standalone managed, or you can come up with a strategy to move forward via the cloud. But the NebulaFlex mechanism and device and families and so on and so forth, it basically gives you complete flexibility for your company. So if you're used to standalone management at the moment, you can carry on with that. But the devices you sell can be sold with the knowledge that you can move them to an MSP type cloud-based solution if and when it's right for you. So you've got Nebula Cloud, standalone, Nebula Cloud, and you can switch backwards and forwards. So if you're in standalone and you go to the cloud, but you want to come back, you can do all of that. We're not mandating anything. So why would you choose a NebulaFlex device instead of a pure Nebula access point? It's difficult to say, really. These are some of the points that people have come up with. Some people like the features. Some people are stuck to using CLIs and local web interfaces, concerned about privacy and so on and so forth. Part of it is obviously actually fully understanding what the platform is about, that we don't have the ability technically to even look at customers' data or the desire. So from a security point of view, I think sometimes people need to fully understand that isn't an issue. If you look at the success of platforms like Amazon AWS or Google or Azure, you can see that so many people have moved down that path of cloud services, and we're just basically saying to you, NebulaFlex gives you the opportunity and the flexibility to move your customers over to a cloud-based MSP model when the time is right for you, basically. So quickly moving on to, because I know time's short, we've basically updated the access point list. Most of the ones on the right-hand side people know about, but obviously we're now starting to roll out 802.11 AX access points properly. And this is showing you this is a NebulaFlex access point, AX access point. So the NWA 110 AX is going to be a NebulaFlex access point, and with an advanced antenna. You can see all the other models in the NebulaFlex family. Then you can see the NebulaFlex switches, which is the classic 1920 V2, and the XGS 1930. Essentially, the only difference between the two is the 10 gig links on the XGS family. So basically, GoPro on us is essentially trying to say that the NebulaFlex Pro products are essentially NebulaFlex with a 1-year professional license bundled in. So you can still do standalone management if you want to, or you can give your business clients complete flexibility for a project using professional license features as and when. So basically, once again, true flexibility comes with the 1-year professional pack license bundled together. So there's obviously a cost advantage from that. You can easily upgrade it to the lifetime license if you so wish. And obviously you can protect your investment in wired and wireless networks by having the flexibility to benefit from the cloud as features get rolled out. So NebulaFlex Professional, why would you want to go for it? Well, obviously if you are an MSP and you want to offer those MSP type services, then clearly a lot of the professional license features which are aimed at MSPs, you would want that license up front. Perhaps particularly in the more high density environments or complicated networks. So access points with the NebulaFlex Professional license are the WAX65OS, that's the new high-end smart antenna AX access point. And you've got the sort of medium spec AX access point, the new AX one, the WAX510. And you've got various Wave 2 access points. There's a full feature set of NebulaFlex Pro Wi-Fi access points. So once again, you'll get sent these slides so you can see what all the models are, what their Wi-Fi spec is, what their antenna design is, internal, external, so on and so forth. So we're basically, part of the reason for the presentation was, as I said, to get a new set of slides out to people. Recently, just before Christmas, the XS3800 pure 10 gig switch with multi-gig switch support on a number of the ports has been upgraded to be NebulaFlex Professional. So once again, if you've got one of these switches, ideal for 10 gig core functionality, also manageable by Nebula. One of the things and areas of confusion, particularly with MSPs and Nebula, is obviously the licensing. So we've got some licensing slides which will hopefully help. So this is a slide which details the basic professional pack feature set. Sorry, the free feature set, then the professional pack, and then the professional pack with lifetime. So you can see all the feature sets, so on and so forth. I won't go over all the features because you just take forever. But you can see how they've been highlighted as to whether or not they're features for MSPs or thought to be advantageous. So the professional pack licensing, basically, it's a 3 years worth of licensing is bundled with the NEP series. 1 year worth of points are bundled with an access point and a switch for NebulaFlex Pro devices. 1 year's worth of licensing in terms of points is bundled with the NSW and the NSG series. And there's a concept of co-termination, a single expiration date per organization. Excuse me. You're able to access the license-free management when the license expires. So we're not going to remove something or take it down. If you don't renew the professional license, you won't be able to change the configuration on a professional basis, on a professional configured feature. One of the things about co-termination is that basically automatically the Nebula Control Center automatically adjusts the expiration dates of all licenses to expire on the same date, concept of co-termination. So when an organization purchases additional licenses for hardware, the terms between the existing license and the new license will be adjusted. All the licenses will be recalculated for the remaining time to terminate on the same date so that each organization will have only one license renewal date. Please note it says that the usage of the Nebula service, the security service, is subject to the terms of these licenses as well. So the drawing shows you've got 12 months to expire, 24 access points. But if you've got some licenses, after 6 months you purchase some additional access points, which also come with a pre-bundled license, it will be adjusted appropriately. There's various ways of doing the licensing as well. You can do it from a product basis by credits or by years or by lifetime. So what this is trying to show is that basically, essentially behind the licensing model, there are a number of credits. So you can either buy things in terms of years or credit points or lifetime. So access points, to get 1 year's worth of professional pack, essentially it's 30 points. Switching for 1 year requires 35 points. The gateway requires 50 points for 1 year. And then you can see that basically at the top there, you've got credit-based licenses. So these are the number of points, Nebula points, that are purchased given this particular SKU. Or you can go down the time-based licensing. So you've got 1 year of, for instance, if you look at the first AP license, that's to provide 1 year of Nebula Control Center professional licensing for an AP or for an AP with a NebulaFlex series. And then you can see 2 years, 4 years limited. Obviously, there's a slight difference between if you've got a device that doesn't include a Nebula professional license, then the limited lifetime license for that is the first part number, the part number that ends in ZZ0004F. If an access point already includes a Nebula professional license and you want to top it up to limited lifetime, then you need to use the top up part number, because obviously you've already bought, or that device already comes with 1 year of licensing. So we don't shortchange you. There's different access point licenses, so different licensing to do that. And then you can see that same thing for switching and gatewaying. This is product versus Nebula security point. So this only applies to the security gateway. The security gateway has two parts of the licensing. It has the Nebula Professional, which is essentially the NCC licensing, and then there's the security service pack licenses. You can see how this works here. So basically, the number of Nebula security points needed for 1 year for each device is on this table here. So you've got 70 points for an NSG 50, rising to 500 points that are required for an NSG 300. So basically, this is the different types of SKUs. So you can go on the credit-based points licensing, or you can go on time-based licensing, depending on how you want to do it. This is specifically for the NSS, the security service, so the signature packs. But anyway, all these part numbers are on the slides. And this is just basically want to sort of summarize a few things basically about the actual architecture itself. We genuinely really do not touch the user's data. Scalable solution, there are no bottlenecks. We live within the Amazon cloud, multi-regions. There's no limits to adding devices. We basically support a plug and play call home technology, which is essentially as long as the device can contact the internet from anywhere, you're up and running. Very high levels of uptime. It's safe and secure. There is no user data passing through the cloud. And we have an encrypted network management standard called NetConf. And your investment is protected in the sense that we are always going to have a free basic licensing model. If you wish to go down the professional licensing, there's reasons for those features which we've described. And obviously NebulaFlex and NebulaFlex Professional multi-mode support. Hopefully that's clarified what that is. Oops. Bear with. I don't know what happened there. Sorry, bear with. Just go back. Sorry about that. So basically, the overall sort of benefits and value proposition is it's a simple, centralized platform. There's an initial, low cost of investment to get started. It's very efficient to offer services, support those services, get them up and running in a timely fashion. Very reliable and offers great visibility to your customers' sites and their usage. And obviously your customers themselves can be linked into that visibility as well, which gives people peace of mind. It's very affordable. It's easy to buy, sell, and support. So your staff and your company can offer much more, particularly with managed services, with much less input. We are providing the platform and you're providing the customers. So as I said here, it's the first full stack cloud management solution that simply works. Now been up and running for a good few years and nice and stable. So we've got features that have been added recently, wireless health, switch IPTV support, security analysis, all features that we're adding over time. It's very affordable if you use the free licensing, or if you use the lifetime professional licensing, you can amortize your costs over maybe a 3 to 5 year service agreement. Just highlighting the fact that it is a full stack solution. Nearly at the end, everyone. What we did want to point out is that Zyzor is coming up with a managed service program and sort of advertising campaign. If you go to the URL here, the msp.zyzor.com/en for English, you'll see that this just been launched, this MSP Evolve program. You might like to have a look at it and you see what it's all about. But basically, it's showing you that you can leverage the Nebula platform to create services yourself. We've also got a webinar coming up basically via a well-known gentleman in the MSP space called Carl Palachuk. I've put the URL in the middle here. Obviously, you can grab it from the slides. Please take the time to sign up to it. Even if you couldn't attend, you can obviously get recordings from it. But it's all about what managed services are about, how you can leverage Nebula, best practice, why you wish to go down that, so on and so forth, from a service and deployment basis, all that kind of thing. But that's all in the webinars coming up. So I don't know if anyone's got any questions. I've just had a look at the moment. I can't see any. Excuse me. I'll wait around for a few minutes if there are any questions, but thank you very much for your time. Sorry it's run over a bit longer than we thought, but basically there's quite a lot in the slide sets that will obviously get sent out to you. But essentially these slides now contain the full platform and product feature set of Nebula, and obviously the professional licensing features, how they can be used within managed services, so on and so forth. So it's quite a useful set of slides perhaps to, when you get hold of them, to keep them under Nebula and managed services. Anyway, thank you very much for your time. As I said, I'll wait around for some questions if there are any, and I hope you have a good afternoon. Thank you very much.